spoken to many Rotary clubs. I could probably be an honorary Rotarian. And I talked about my book and what went into the reporting of the book. And but I decided to do something different and what goes into self-publishing a book. So I left the paper on a sabbatical, thinking it would take me a few months because I knew the topic so well, and it took me over 3 years. And but I hope we get the little circle in there. This is a picture the press register took when they came out to the story on the book. This is the before it was cleaned up, the workstation. First, let me tell you about, when you publish a book, generally you think of, national, you go to Books A Million or Barnes and Noble, they're all going to be, nationally published books. Authors have agents. I don't know anybody in that circle, and had no idea how to get an agent or a big publisher for an Alabama book. So I didn't try. I talked to the University of Alabama Press, and they basically told me it was kind of too hot for them. They get money from public funding, and also there's some sort of peer review process, and I met with them and talked to them, and so that was out. And really, it was my only viable choice was a state-based or regional publisher. And really the best one around is called New South in Montgomery. They were recently in the news for taking the N-word out of Huckleberry Finn, which I don't think is that big a deal, but for a few, but anyway, so they had us, and I did sign a contract with them. They would provide a professional edit, they would pay for all the production costs. I would have received a 10% royalty on the sale of each book. It's a small publisher with very limited resources. I think their first print would have been like 500 books. So I would have worked my buns off, and for just a 10% royalty on each book. And they're so small, I would be doing most of the selling and marketing anyway. And so I had the contract, and then I ended up asking out of it because the editing was going to take an extra year. My manuscript was something along the lines of 600 pages. It was as I wanted it to be, whatever its weaknesses. And I just didn't want to go through the murderous edit of that. It would take me another year of their time and my time. I wanted control, and I asked out, and they kind of let me out of my contract. I researched self-publishing, or as it's often known as vanity publishing, because it's been years, and people want to tell a story. Actually, my uncle Harry Riddick this is a small book when he was a virgin seaman, and I'm not sure who published it, but a lot of times people want merely to tell their story, to have family and friends read it, and I think that's wonderful. And to me, that's the best thing about self-publishing. But I want to try to do a real book and self-publish it. Now, there are certain reasons, you can't get a traditional publisher. People go into self-publishing. Author's unknown, as I was. The topic is obscure. The book is awful. Which wasn't the case of mine. The topic is only of interest to a small geographic area or a small group of people. And I was really, as it started a regional Alabama book, although I think certain things vaulted it to it does have lots of national interest now, I think. But, so I did some research. By the way, if I go over 20 minutes, y'all hang with me. The main company is called Author Solutions out of Bloomington, Indiana. I did some research. If you can have a monopoly on self-publishing, they really do. They own a company called Author House, Ex Libris, and iUniverse, and some other ones. I did some research. There's a New York Times story, a really good story on self-publishing, and I read. And iUniverse is like their top brand. And this is some instances. It says the combined company represented 19,000 books in 2008. That would be about 6 times more than Random House, the world's largest publisher. Then again, the average sale of Author House, I think, is their biggest brand, is 150 copies. So they published a gazillion books, but sales per copy is somewhat low. I actually went on their webpage and saw some authors and Googled them and emailed them and, you know, got some feedback and it was generally positive. So I decided to self-publish. I'm going to get away from self-publishing for a second and go into something that, you know, you're going to do whether you self-publish or not. And this is the book design and latest. Okay. It was near the end. I did not have a title to the book. I was going to call it Golden Flake, because Siegelman, a lot of people had called him Golden Flake. That was this nickname he had. And I kind of agree with the nickname from some of the stuff I've read or found out about and whatever. You know, of course, the potato chips. And but nobody liked it. My father hated it. And so I talked to J.D. Crowe, our cartoonist, and I hired him to do the cover of my book. And while looking at some of J.D.'s cartoons on Siegelman, this is the first one he did after a series of stories I did on something called G.H. Construction. I saw this, and I said, well, there's my title. So I hired J.D., and nothing J.D. told me was that some of the top colors in books are like red, black, and white. So I went to Barnes & Noble, which still existed at the time, and took my camera and I took a picture of this, and I sent this to iUniverse along with the copy, which I did, and so that's kind of where I got the idea for that. This is the cover that he did. Carl Rove, who came into the scene later on after I started the book. The full title is The Governor of Goat Hill, Don Siegelman, the reporter who exposed his crimes in the hopes that suckered some of the top names in journalism. And I have to read the subtitle because I forget it. It's so long, the book. But, so, now let's go back to self-publishing. You know, they offer several different programs, you know, you can do this, you can do the book launch Premier Pro for $4,199. The online, you know, they have down to whatever, and they tell you what they offer and different things. And so I got one of the somewhat the medium ones, and they have one thing to do is they have an editor evaluation. And so I sent my manuscript as it was, and I got it back, and I was surprised that the woman who did it really read my book. You know, it's kind of professional, but she had some very nice comments about the book. And it was clear that she read it. She pointed out some errors, you know, so I was like, well, actually, they did read it. But then they said, you know, we regret to inform you that your book did not receive the Editor's Choice designation. This is what they do to get, this is one of their sales techniques. I think they probably tell that to everyone. You know, Charles Dickens could probably have submitted the finished copy of Christmas Carol or whatever, and they would say the same thing. Because they make money by selling different things, and in order to get the Editor's Choice designation, which, you know, if I want to go sell my book at a bookstore, like Russ's, trying to, you know, well, my book is an iUniverse Editor's Choice. They're going to go, yeah. So what? So anyway, that's just one of their sales techniques. And they wanted me to do, get a line editing my book as long as it can be. It would have, I think all the line editing and copy editing it would have cost me $106,000. So one thing I did on my editing, I had readers. Miss Ann Rose was one of my readers. Very helpful. I had difficulty with factual errors, so that was my editing really, and just rereading, and still some mess up snuck through, but anyhow, that's not their fault. Mostly not their fault. So, you know, they do try to sell, you know, get a social media published for $4,000, a Hollywood trailer for $20,000. Now, I doubt anybody's ever done this. that's the business they're in, sell things, promote your book. My cost through them overall, not including buying the books, was about $4,000, and that included redoing some errors and some other things I'll talk about. But again, if I purchased the editing, it would cost more than $100,000, which I didn't have on hand. Here's another little separate thing about publishing, be it self-publishing or not, and this took a lot of time, was the photos, and I was proud of the photo sections in my book. You know, I had to choose my photos to go along and the art. I had to acquire rights to photos. I mean, I could have just, a lot of times you see them on the internet, but if I was to use them, people could say, you know, stop, you know, so I didn't want to be the investigative reporter who sold people's photo rights. And for instance, this photo down here on the bottom right, I had to pay $250 for, because the only good photo of this Lanny Young Associated Press has it, they charge a lot. And some other photos, the photo on the right, I think I had to pay Birmingham News $50 for several pictures, and I had to, some, you know, our paper gave us some free, but here's a picture I had to pay the Birmingham News $50 for, and it's an important picture involved in the trial and the prosecution of Siegelman, and I had to have that picture. I'm running through a lot of this as quickly as I can. The manuscript, you know, I had one of my big losses printing because I would, you know, redo chapters and just for years, and this is what it looks like. Can't really see clearly, but when you submit your manuscript, say it comes back, and these are corrections. You'd have to put page, paragraph, line on paragraph, what it was, and how it should be. And I had a lot of this business. It was very, very time consuming. Here's my book by the numbers. I say pages with text, 620. I could say 688, but I want to kind of limit it. It's not that long. It's only 620 pages of actual reading. Two sections of photos, cover art by J.D. Crow. And the index, I had to do my own index, and was trying to beat it for Christmas last year, which was a mistake, and I didn't make it. And if I'd have gotten them to do my index, it would have been God knows how many thousands of dollars. And I did it like, and you can't do the index until you've got your finished manuscript, because you don't know what page everything's going to, you know, line up on. And I think I did it in about a weekend, hardly any sleep. I mean, I already had most of the search terms. I just had to, you know, because I was trying to beat Christmas, which I didn't do anyway. Endnotes or footnotes within, it was very extensively sourced, I can promise you. Now I'm going to get into the situation where we buy books. You know, if I'd have gone to New South, they would have gone through their printers and, you know, done that. But since the next big negotiation is like how many books you want, you know, and they'll give you, you know, the more you buy, the lower the cost. You know, we have a special today. Sure you do. In any event, my wife told me not to say how much I spent buying books, okay? So, but it was pretty much. This is as of a couple days ago in my father's garage. There used to be another pallet full. You know, this doesn't include something out of my house. But the price started at $35 for a paperback with tax. It's down to $20. And you know, who knows? Maybe it'll be $2 before it's over. But I had a neighbor, not a really nice guy, and he asked me how much the book was, and originally it was $35. I don't know what it was at the time. I was 30. He says, "Well, how much did it cost you?" And I mean, like, how much did the book actually cost me, you know, buying it from them, or how much 3 years cost without getting paid, or can I hit you, or, you know, it's like, well, how much did it cost you? Like, okay, 90 a copy. And one thing I tried to do, this is a little frustration, I tried to beat it, make it get it before Christmas. So generally they'll send you a copy and you'll read the copy and you're always going to find something. And so I'm so proud to have my new book. I'm looking at the table of contents and I go, introduction, preface. Does my book have 2 prefaces? No, and it's on the same page. Already a mistake. So I end up, that's the collector's edition. My hardback is